Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Lunar Podcast. In the spirit of the season that is to come, I would like to present my reflection on the fall season and what it represents and what it symbolizes. So, as we all know, there are four seasons in the year, right? Summer, fall, winter, and spring, right? And then the season, cycles through again, right? Nature itself, these seasons are embedded within the laws of nature, right? We clearly see them, right? Now, the way that maps onto our psychology is that our psychology, the way that we think, the way that we see the world, the way that we experience ourselves, also has a season of full fruition, which represents the summer season, and it also has the opposite of that spectrum, which is the winter, where everything feels dead and cold, and it almost feels like things are not alive, right? But as we all know, in the winter, everything is still, and it's not dead. It just has come to a rest, right? And then in the spring season, it begins to blossom again. So in our psychology, it works exactly the same. Now, this is the problem that we have in our culture, that we reject that process. What do I mean by that? We go through seasons where we experience ourselves being one kind of person, and at some point we have to let that go, right? At some point you have to, because it's natural, right? That is the fall of the filters of our mind. They will fall away, right? The veil will fall away, and this is actually something good, right? Because it's natural, right? Now, for those who are not familiar with this kind of psychology, which we could categorized as depth psychology, it feels terrifying. It's like my world is falling apart. Everything that I once knew is falling apart. I don't know where things are going. I don't know what to expect. So what we typically do as sleeping beings is we hold on to what we know, and we hold on to it for dear life, right? So that is counter to nature, right? The natural world doesn't hold on to the summer. It lets it go. It lets the leaves die. It lets everything, come back to a stillness, right? It doesn't try to hold on to it because it understands that these laws are embedded within the natural flow. We as human beings, we suppress that. We reject that process. And this is why we really don't mature as a society, right? We think we are an advanced civilization, but we're really not, right? Because we're an advanced civilization allows things to progress and to evolve, and to it allows the psychic energies to go where they need to go, even if it requires a death process, which eventually turns into a rebirth process, right? So the clear point here is that, we have to let things fall apart. It's perfectly natural. And in the fall season, just as the leaves start to change color, they start to fall, things tend to go back to a sort of more still, calm a season. Our minds too, we have to let go of the things which we thought we once knew, right? We have to let go of that which no longer serves us, right? Which is a very common spiritual motto, right? Letting go of what doesn't serve you anymore, right? Now, for those who haven't gone through that process, it's no wonder that they hold on to it for dear life. But for those of us who have gone through that, destructive cycle over and over and over and over, it's perfectly natural for us. In fact, we welcome it, and sometimes it feels actually very soothing and relaxing. That these pressures are falling away, right? And we tend to become more calm and more relaxed, and allow the process. That's another spiritual cliche, is trust the process, right? But if we don't understand what the process is, what we do is we put a clamp, a damper on that process, thereby making things worse, right? So, in the spirit of the fall season, letting go of our old habits, our old thoughts, which are naturally going to occur. It's not something that we have to try; it just naturally happens. We just have to allow it to happen, right? By allowing that process to take place, one will see directly that it is a natural fall and death and rebirth process, which we could interpret from a psychological perspective, right? And something as simple as that, right? Something as simple as understanding this, fall of the filters of our mind, will open up a new direction, right? So, in conclusion, do not be afraid of change, right? Change is normal, change is good, but in order for change to happen, things have to fall apart. So, trust the process.